The Manifesto of a Killer, Ethan Miller's Deadly Fantasy. Bend, Oregon, a place that looks like it was plucked straight from a postcard. Surrounded by mountains with crystal-clear rivers cutting through forests, it's the kind of town where people come to escape the chaos of big cities. A place known for its breweries, its outdoor adventures, and for being home to the last surviving blockbuster in America. But on the evening of August 28, 2022, the peace of Bend was shattered. The sounds of gunfire ripped through the air. A Safeway grocery store became a battleground, and in a matter of minutes, lives were stolen. And the man responsible? A 21-year-old named Ethan Blair Miller. His attack wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act of violence. It was something far more terrifying. This was planned, premeditated. For months, Ethan had been preparing for this exact moment. He had written about it in a chilling 56-page manifesto, one that would be viewed over 400,000 times before mysteriously vanishing from the internet. But before we talk about that, let's start at the beginning. Because Ethan Miller didn't just wake up one day and decide to become a killer. This had been brewing for years. A life on the edge. Ethan Miller was born on October 31st, 2001, Halloween night. Some people might say that's ironic, a future mass murderer born on the scariest day of the year. But the truth is, there is nothing particularly eerie about his childhood. At least, not at first. Ethan grew up in Bend with his mother and younger brother. His father was not in the picture, though no one really knows why. As a kid, Ethan was just average. He played video games, he was interested in martial arts, he had a fascination with weapons, which, okay, sure, that's not inherently a red flag, but what was concerning was the type of history he was drawn to. Because while most kids were watching Star Wars or Harry Potter, Ethan was studying mass shootings, particularly one, Columbine. From a young age, Ethan became obsessed with Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the perpetrators of the 1999 Columbine massacre. He didn't just read about them, he idolized them. He watched their videos, he memorized their words, he quoted them in his own journals. It was an obsession that should have raised alarms, but it didn't. Because Ethan knew how to hide it. The bullied bully. Ethan attended Mountain View High School in Bend, and if you asked his classmates about him, they wouldn't describe him as quiet or withdrawn. They describe him as a bully, the kind of guy who loved picking fights. He wasn't the biggest kid, but he had a reputation for being aggressive. Constantly trying to prove something, his anger was always simmering just beneath the surface. But there's the thing about bullies. Most of them aren't actually as confident as they pretend to be. Deep down, Ethan hated himself. He felt like an outcast. He wanted people to respect him, to fear him, and most of all, he wanted women to want him. But instead, they avoided him. Girls found him creepy. He would spam their inboxes, sending them messages over and over, even when they told him to stop. To Ethan, their rejection wasn't just a normal part of life, it was an attack. And in his mind, that meant only one thing. It wasn't his fault, it was theirs. The pandemic that pushed him over the edge. Ethan graduated from Mountain View in 2020, which was not a great time to graduate. COVID-19 had just shut down the world. No senior parties, no summer vacations, just isolation. And for Ethan, that was lethal. He was already teetering on the edge. He had no real friends, no girlfriend, no future plans. And now he had nothing. His part-time job at Safeway let him go. His martial arts classes shut down. His already small social circle disappeared completely. So he did what so many like him do. He turned to the internet. And if you know where to look, The internet can be a very dark place. Ethan started spending hours, days on forums filled with people just like him. People who hated women. People who hated society. People who believed they were superior. And as he sat in his room alone, soaking in all that anger, something inside him snapped. He made a decision. If he couldn't leave a positive mark on the world, he would leave a scar. The Manifesto of a Killer. In July 2022, Ethan began writing a 56-page manifesto titled The Downward Spiral of Ethan Miller. It was filled with rage, hatred, violent fantasies, and most disturbingly, a plan. Ethan detailed exactly how he was going to die. If you're reading this, then I'm definitely dead and I've just committed a national tragedy. The world made me this way. Society created me. I was born to do this. He didn't just want to die, he wanted to make a statement. Originally, his plan was to attack his old high school, Mountain View. But there was a problem. It was summer break, the school was empty. And Ethan? He was impatient. So he changed his target. The attack. On the night of August 28, 2022, Ethan left his apartment, dressed in black, a tactical vest strapped to his chest, in one hand a shotgun, in the other an AR-15 style rifle, and across his shirt in blood-red letters was a single word: hurt. His first shots weren't fired at people. He shot his own truck first, then at parked cars, a passing Honda Civic, then at the Big Lots store, and then he walked into Safeway. The first victim was an 84-year-old Glenn Bennett, an elderly veteran. Ethan shot him 5 times. Glenn didn't survive. Inside, employees and shoppers ran for cover, and then one man fought back. Donald Surrett Jr., a 66-year-old employee, a former military man, lunged at Ethan. With nothing but a knife, he knocked the shotgun out of Ethan's hands. For a moment, it looked like he might win. But Ethan was faster. He overpowered Donald, and then he killed him. But now police were storming the store. And Ethan, he didn't even fight them. Instead, he turned the gun on himself, and just like that, it was over. Final thoughts. Ethan Miller wanted to be remembered. But the irony? Within months, his manifesto was erased from the internet. His name? Already forgotten. Because in the end, the world moved on without him. The people we should remember? Glenn Bennett, Donald Surrett Jr., not the coward who took them. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.